Alright, so here's the deal. The Parasaur may be one of the best early game mounts that you could possibly get in Ark Survival Evolved or Ark Survival Ascended. Hear me out for a sec. Alright, but not only are we going to be talking about how good of a mount the Parasaur is, we're going to be talking about how viable they are as a primary mount going in through the in-game. So, as always, if you like the video, if the video helps you out, make sure you hit that thumbs up button. I really appreciate it. If you're new around here, subscribe, and let's jump into this. Alright, you unlock their saddle at level 9, which the only thing else that you can unlock that is even the closest thing to this is level 5, and that is the Phiomia saddle. Matter of fact, if you want to see a video like this on the Phiomia, let me know in the comments down below. Well, you unlock this at level 9, and the materials for actually crafting it is super simple. It's 80 hide, 50 fiber, and 15 wood. It doesn't get much easier than that. I mean, the hide is kind of a pain in the butt, but then again, you just invest a little bit in Ebolas, and then you can end up getting some of this. Taming these things are super simple, as always being just craft yourself up a little bola and bam! I mean, you can shoot these guys with a bow. You could shoot them with a crossbow if you wanted to, but granted, by the time you get a crossbow, you've kind of out-leveled a little bit of some of these guys' usefulness, but it keeps going on after that, and hear me out here. Hell, if you want to, you could even club the living crap out of these guys. It is extremely simple and effective to knock one of these guys out with a club. But you also got to make sure that, the bola stays, because if it doesn't, then chasing them down is kind of a pain. So you have that brief little window to actually tame them up. Alright, but once you got one of these guys tamed, not only are they, honestly, they're one of the first things you can actually get that is early game that is actually really good. They have a decent amount of hit points. They also have a decent amount of weight, which, can actually go quite far on these guys. Also, they act as, just like every other thing in the game, an early game refrigerator. So they'll double the, spoil timers on just about everything that you put into their inventory. Which, by the time you get them, that's kind of huge, actually. All right, now there's a couple things that some people don't know. Now, everybody knows that if you take Parasaur and you go like this, you go alert settings, you go to enable turret mode, and you can turn this on, and then they'll look like this. They've got this over their head, and if anything dangerous comes into distance, they will do that little shout out right there, and then they will illuminate with a bit of bright red. Mine is probably hidden way over here inside of the bay. Yeah, right there it is. They look just like that whenever you go. But did you know that you can activate this while you're riding them? All right, you can go like this and just ping, just like that. And you can ping wherever the hell you want to go, just like that. And also, this ping works insanely well on a whole bunch of other different things. If you have one of these guys over on Scorched Earth, you can have the ping locate phoenixes that when it's not a heat wave. So you just go like this, and if there's a phoenix's ashes anywhere around, it'll be like, yeah, a phoenix will come out of that. Pay attention whenever you're coming around on a heat wave. There you go. You just found your phoenix. Parasaur also has a couple other special abilities. Like, they've got one where you can actually send things running for their lives. Here, you go like this and just boop. Once every 120 minutes or once every 120 seconds or 2 minutes, you can fear roar things and you can get them sent out way in front of you. Now, it is a conal effect, so it goes out from about, say, like right about this direction over here to about right over this direction right here. I would draw it in, but who's got time for any of that? All right, so yeah, you can do that, and it sends things off in a fear roar away from you. And yeah, here, let's see, there we go. Right there's the timer. It'll come off his horse up in the top right-hand corner. Yeah, and also these guys right here, once you are when you first encounter one of these guys, once you first tame one of these guys, and you hop on them, you actually get a certain sense of security while you're going around. You've got a little bit more hit points, you've got a little bit more health, and you also get a little bit more armor value as well from their saddle as you're riding them on. So, I mean, honestly, early game, these guys are extremely effective and efficient for what you need. So, but we're not here to talk about completely the early game. We're going to be talking about the late game of these guys, because their effectiveness once you get into the late game is, I mean, their usefulness as a mount kind of gets pulled back quite a bit as you start getting more things like Trike. A Trike will outdo a Parasaur pretty efficiently. A Sabertooth. Sabertooth is another thing that will absolutely outshine a Parasaur, because Parasaurs, they aren't really the fastest runners, but they make amazing bodyguards, especially early in the game. Once you hit probably about level 30, maybe 35, and you can start looking at things like an Iguanodon, an Iguanodon will completely outdo a Parasaur. But Parasaur's effectiveness goes on further from just being a mount, because once you actually outlevel them, you actually get something that can outdo them, then you can start using these guys as for what their utility, their secondary utility is, and that is to alert you about other things, because that turret mode is really, really good. And I would lean into the usefulness of their turret mode, because there's a lot of different things that their turret mode will actually do that a lot of people don't really realize. A lot of times people will put them in their base and they'll be like, yes, alert me if anything bad comes nearby. That's fair. That's a really good use for it. But there's so many other things you can use that alertness, that alert ability for. All right, so to start off, their turret mode actually has several different settings. One, right here, you can enable the turret mode right here, and there we go, let's turn that on. And then also, we have where you can change it, so where there's different things that you can have it alert you. So players only, players and tames only, creatures, just wild creatures, or all. So, I mean, for this right here, we're just gonna go wild creatures, because we're just here on PvE right now. But if you're on PvP, this would have so many more uses than already. So, also, let's go like this, and then even you can change it to auto frighten, so where you can have it so where they will use their auto frighten or their ability to frighten things when they get encountered while they're in turret mode, which actually gives them a little bit more durability. But also, if you pair these guys with an Argent while you keep their turret mode enabled, you can activate it to figure out where anything really is. As long as it's an aggressive dino, you can use these guys to... Wow, I've got a lot of Trondons over there. Holy crap. All right, but yeah, so you can use these guys to not only find, say, like otters inside of water. All right, they will also point out, say, like ducks down there in the water, all sorts of different things that you just normally wouldn't even see. Right there, there's ducks, there's otter, there's all sorts of things in there. Yeah, the salmons won't count because they're not normally aggressive. They won't come over and start messing with you. But yeah, see, I mean, look at that. Well, right there. There's ducks, there's otter, there's all sorts of stuff inside of this water. Also, you can use these to find thylacoleas that are on trees in the redwoods, which makes them very, very efficient and effective for that. Also, you can find, like I said earlier with the Phoenix, any kind of hidden thing that is aggressive or has potential to be aggressive, then these guys will spot. So yeah, so while I would say that their effectiveness and their efficiency for being a primary mount kind of goes up until they're about level 35 or 40, their usefulness continues on all the way into the end games as you need certain things. So yeah, the Parasaur, very, very good, very efficient, very effective. And if you're on extinction, tech parasaurs will give you all sorts of oil and metal and, I mean, come on, tech parasaur farm, very, very good. Also, early game, when you get one of these things, yeah, I mean, they're going to provide you with the ability to damage things without using up a bunch of ammo, say, like using arrows and stuff like that, which means that, yeah, I mean, they're kind of a godsend given to you, you know, when you get your first tame, because not only are you just going to be jumping around and running around on the ground, these guys are absolutely going to be, you know, they're going to be able to carry all sorts of extra stuff. They're going to be able to hit extra hard. They're going to be able to take up a whole bunch of extra damage for you, which is kind of huge early game. Also, when that raptor comes up, I mean, since you can still use things from the back of the Parasaur, yeah, they're going to be quite effective. Also, you see Dillos. I mean, Dillos are no longer going to be as big of a problem because, I mean, you can now take out Dillos with just eating it in the face, and you can just face tank that green goo that they're going to send on you anyway. So yeah. So while I would say that Parasaurs are insanely good early game, when you first get them, they're amazing. But they die off around level 35. So how would I rate them? In the early game, I would say out of, I would give them a, you know, it's hard to do better than this as your first tame out of 10. If once you start getting higher level into other things, continues to live on in usefulness, but not nearly as good as a mount. So that's how viable they are as an end game tame or as a primary tame. They have two different stages, early game and late game. Early game, they're great when you first get them. Late game, they help you identify things and find things that you normally wouldn't be able to find without them. So yeah, Parasaur's pretty good. All right, so hey, I hope the video helped you out, and until next time, take it easy, everybody.